Okay, friends, in the MPV model market in China, who is generally recognized as the best seller? 98, right? But in fact, Guangxi Legends MPVs are also selling very, very well. There is a data. In 2024, Guangxi Legends MPV market share will reach 15.5%. What is the concept? That is to say, one of the 6 MPV models is handed down from Guangxi, and models like the M8 are also selling very well. Whether it is the previous Master Edition or the Master Edition, they have formed this kind of MPV gradient. This market segment has been opened up for you, but what now? Qiankun means that this car has driving assistance capabilities, and it is a system provided by Huawei. What about this car? Its price has also reached the range of 350,000 to 400,000, so the configurations of various hardware and software are very high. The body length of this car is a little over 5.2 meters, and the wheelbase is 30/70. In fact, its size, it is relatively close to the G28, but this size looks very large in terms of appearance design. Why? Because of this cold, stirring angle. This shape design of this very large gearhead will make everyone feel that the visual effect is very impactful. However, if you really drive this car, you will find that it is not as big as you imagined. Therefore, I think the dynamic calibration ability of the chassis of this car is quite good. As for the other point, the LiDAR above the head, and the whole car is covered with large and small sensors and cameras, which means that its driving assistance ability is also relatively good. Currently, such a system of Huawei Qiankun bracket ADS3 makes it in the program. MTV, which can also have the ability of parking space to parking space, has driving assistance capabilities. In fact, it also gives such models more imagination, so this is its appearance. Of course, what is more important is its 2 rows. Before the 2 rows, I think MPVs actually had a pain point in the past, that is, the volume of its trunk is relatively small, but let's take a look at this car, an electric tailgate. After opening its 3 rows of seats, if you put them on the most lying side, you can actually find that its space is not particularly ample, but this car, it has 3 ropes, one here and one here to control different angles, such as this one. You can easily adjust the backrest angle of the 3rd row. If you have a lot of luggage, slightly straightening the backrest of the 3rd row makes room for more space. While sacrificing some comfort for riders in the 3rd row, you can gain valuable luggage space. Additionally, you can fold down the backrest completely, optimizing the available space even further. What's more, this divine pull mechanism allows you to push the seats forward, providing maximum flexibility thanks to the lengthy slide rail. Furthermore, the rope pull adds to the adaptability. If you turn it over, you can form a larger passage in the rear compartment and a larger volume of the rear compartment. The same is true here. It is very simple to operate. I even think this manual is more convenient than many electric methods. The method is more convenient. The performance of the volume of a very large trunk. There are electric side sliding doors on both sides, and on this MPV model, I think one thing is better, that is, its armrests are better than the lower poles. For the above, for example, for an elderly person or a taller friend, you can just help this place. For a child, you can help the watch. Moreover, the material feels quite comfortable to hold, and it is also double layer. This kind of pedal and the height of its entire floor is relatively good. Well, it's actually very convenient to get on the bus like this. In addition, this car actually has 2 different versions on the 2nd row. Now we see that this car is a first-class version, which means that the 2 seats occupy a very large space. But in fact, its configuration is very top, and the 2 seats are very independent, and it also has its own small table. His small table was taken out in this place, which is exactly the same as the feeling on the first-class cabin of the plane. This one is still very, very delicate with this mud-resistant feeling. In addition, if there is an aisle version, the width in the middle will be wider, so it will be very convenient to enter and exit the 23rd row, and you can enter and exit from the middle aisle. Of course, for an aerospace seat like this, there is a button next to it when it enters and exits. As soon as you press it, you can work very quickly and lie forward with the backrest angle so that a relatively small space will be formed to get in and out. But what is better is that the adjustment speed of its electric seat is very fast. And it even takes less than 10 seconds to completely reserve this passage for you, so this is the configuration of 2 different seats. If you enjoy this exclusive state more, I think the aviation seat is very, very comfortable. If you are a family car or even don't have any business reception, the aisle version is completely sufficient. Let's go back to this seat. This version, its seats are really very comfortable, and the front and rear seats are ventilated, heated, and massage is all available. Have you seen this place in the 2nd row of this car? It even has a tight pillow in this place for heating, so it is really comfortable to lie in this place. It really costs a lot of money to have only these 2 seats in the 2 rows of this car. Besides, what about these 2 small screens? It has adjustable air conditioning music seats, even a sunroof, a spiritual screen, etc. Speaking of the west top screen, there must be a big incident with this car, refrigerator and color TV. What about the Xi Jinping above? It is also a built-in HarmonyOS system, including the feeling of the HarmonyOS cockpit of the entire vehicle. In fact, it is very convenient to interact with. What about the refrigerator below? I think one thing is very good about it. First of all, it is electric and pops up slowly. Of course, when you usually drive by yourself as the main driver, sometimes you want to drink a little cold. Can you directly open the armrest box in the middle by pressing it? There is also a refrigerator below it, so the opening of this refrigerator, one is the rear and the other is the front. This takes into account both the front row and the front row. The brand's need for refrigerators is exceptionally intricate. Thus, here is a detailed overview of the second row configuration of this vehicle. When compared to models like the current GL or the former Odyssey, the sophistication and scene-specific configuration of this car's second row are undeniably abundant. Whether it's for residential use or business purposes, this car proves to be an exceptional choice. First of all, this car really doesn't feel like driving a big car. Although its size and weight are already here, it is actually the feeling of calibration of its chassis, including the feeling of steering feel and brake accelerator. It is very linear, and it doesn't make this car have such obvious support control or roll control. Of course, there must be some roll. It's just that when accelerating and decelerating, this kind of support control is done better, so it won't make people feel that this car is uncomfortable to sit. It seems difficult to collect, which is indeed well done. Besides, the 2.0 T2 gear DHT of this car is suitable for most people, whether it is an added or almost hybrid. If it is put on a 2-gear TV, its engine can play more roles, allowing it to intervene at lower speeds, so that its healthcare ability can be done well. If it is said that the power is out of power, its power can be well guaranteed. So especially with this kind of MPV, you may pull 5 to 6 people, or even up to 7 people when traveling. The greater the weight, the greater the demand for its power, so it is very, very necessary to add 2.0T to the 2-speed TV. Although 2.0T is said this car is still number 92, which is quite good. In addition, this car has a TV package capacity of 44.5 kilowatt hours, and all 3 yuan lithium batteries in Ningde era are 3 yuan lithium. In winter, its battery life performance will be slightly better, so this car still uses a more top hardware configuration. This car doesn't need those very extreme environments. What about this car? Its time life has reached 248 kilometers. In fact, daily speaking, it is completely okay to drive in the city, but the weight of this car is here, including your load, so its power may be consumed relatively quickly, but it is still just now. The 2.0T plus 2-speed DHT can be used to disengage it. So you don't have to learn it and worry about its power loss. There is definitely nothing wrong with the power model, and then there is this car. Its Huawei Qiankun bracket ADS3 is about this version. Different models and categories of cars. We have tried cars, MPV SUVs, and even hardcore crossing cars. We will find that the lower limit of overall capabilities is relatively high. However, this car is in those more complex cars. The performance of small roads, even those lower than the level of auxiliary roads, will be slightly worse. At least its traffic efficiency will not be that high. So if you're driving this car and if you rely heavily on its value-added assistance capabilities, I suggest that you pay a little more attention to it. After all, the current Chinese language driving assistance capabilities will be more restrained. It is mainly based on safety rather than being as radical as before. That feeling. However, in any case, the addition of driving assistance will also allow the MPA to gain some rhythm in more scenes, or it is quite a good thing to unlock the experience. In the end, a brief summary is that although the price of this car is 350,000 to 400,000 yuan, of course the terminal will still have a better car with a vertical jam. Its hardware configuration is very fixed, especially its ability in the second row. Its hardware is very, very excellent in this kind of delicacy. So whether it is Ivia in the 9GL8 City or Xianglamba, etc., these models are very excellent. But everyone's emphasis on details is different. If it is you will be more inclined to these cars. What did he say?